want to wrap it up is this aspect. Should we tell our children that we love them? and this was actually quite interesting because listening to the submission, particularly, I think I'll mention the hosts because the hosts are well known as opposed to mentioning the other contributors or people who join in. So specifically here, I'll mention George. It was interesting seeing him, how he became so soft, in a sense, when he spoke about children. And I don't know if one is the aspect of him being a father, or two is also the aspect of sort of the culture that he operates in, where people use that word of I love you both to either romantic partners or to their own children. And that in Africa is I guess
something a bit
not common.
Yeah, it's not common.
Yeah. So what's your take around it, around telling your children I love you?
Okay, if I'm to have kids, you see, I was brought up in a very, I'll call it a stable environment. We were disciplined sufficiently, and there's no time I felt that my parents overdid anything, both my mom and my late dad. And then again, I don't remember them telling me, Brian, I love you. It was never mentioned. But somehow owing to the techniques they used, I actually knew these people cared for me. Without me uttering those statements, it was not once. In fact, if I'm to recall my dad telling you I love you, I'll be like, are you okay, Dad? So it was something that was never mentioned. It was more of just implemented through number one, provision of basic needs, being taken care of when you are sick, and being disciplined sufficiently, so that where we are now, we are looking at some of the things we are able to do, or we are not doing without supervision, and I can even trace back to their upbringing. So at the end of the day, is what we call object orientation. How do the kids turn out? I turned out, I'm not exactly claiming to be the number one human being in the world, but I think I've got quite a sufficient level of decency and reasonable behavior, and I can actually trace it back to where I was, to how I was brought up. It wasn't much of, those words were never mentioned, never. But there were provisions given, no day going without hunger. I was, in fact, due to my lack of maturity at that time, I used to complain to my schoolmates, how come my dad is always paying school fees on time? I'm not getting chased away. Because when I see my fellow pupils in primary being kicked out of school, go call, and I'm left in class with like 10 guys, like, dad, chelewesha school fees kidogo saa zingine. So such issues, as you grow, you come to appreciate that school fees is being paid on time. You are not going hungry. And this is basically a normal ranking civil servant who's able to put together this package of bringing me up, plus the relevant discipline. You are disciplined, but you know this is not war, because as a kid, you know, hey, hii ni kuwawa sasa. But the discipline was sufficiently harsh, and the outcome was what I am today. I'm not boasting about being the most outstanding citizen enough, but if we're to have an Olympics of being reasonable, I think I'll come out with a medal or two. So this traces back to what I went through. So my reference is what the kind of upbringing I went through. It wasn't more of words, it was more of mentoring. Ensure that in life you don't do this. This is how homes are. It's like a tutorial on how to run a home. So make it like a tutorial. When you're watching a tutorial, does the person tell you that you are doing well? No. The tutorial is there, you follow it. If you don't follow it, the outcome is that skill, you won't pick it. So the skill of the upbringing is how you turn out to be. If you are always every weekend, let's say 4 months, 4 weeks, 3 weeks a month, you are always inside the police cell, you have to ask who is the common denominator. It can't be the police. It must be you. So the upbringing is the factory. You as the adult are the final product. So me during the process, during my processing, I never used to hear the "I love you" and whatnot. So I find it irrelevant to me today.
Okay.
If there's someone who is.
And do you think those who got that "I love you," I think even as we are discussing it during the space, many were referring it as a form of affirmation. Do you think those that got that word "I love you" had an edge over those that didn't get it?
I don't see how it can help you. What I know is that I normally make what you call, I call them simplifying assumptions that I use when dealing with people that assist me from getting worked up by some people. Like you are dealing with an individual, we have a situation whereby things don't go our ways, and somebody really sparks out and really elicits a very unmanly reaction. Instead of getting pissed off, maybe this is somebody who was given a lot of affirmations when growing up. You are a nice boy, you'll grow up to be a pilot, you'll grow up to be the greatest man in the world, or if you do this, that's a very good. Of course, I had my fair share of affirmations, like I performed well in school. Hey, good job, nice. I was not brought up in a military camp. My folks had a very clear way of appreciating. So it wasn't like we are being brought up by a couple of wolves in the house, but there was no overdoing. There are things you could do, and out of immaturity, you'd expect some affirmation. But Mzee will tell you, you ni kazi yako. That's what you're supposed to do. You live here. You've cleaned the house. You live in this house, yeah? So if you cleaned it and you live here, it's a plus for everyone. So such things made us come to believe that some functions are normal, no need for affirmations. Maybe go build a rocket, finish this motorbike I'm building, then you can give me some affirmations. But you cannot give me affirmations for brushing my teeth. Tell me I love you, Brian, brush your teeth. Or you, hey baby, that's a nice thing, you flush the toilet, I love you so much. No.
Yeah,
Big no.
It's this age of everyone gets a trophy kind of a culture that we've created, where the bar is so low. So just somebody brushing teeth, as you say, becomes a way of affirming them.
Or you get to a point whereby
yeah.
somebody is being appreciated for turning to work on time. Serious.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's why also that aspect of entitlement has come, because it has been birthed by this kind of an upbringing. I like the way Kibe actually brought it when he said, this idea of "I love you," am I rehabilitating them? So it's like you've already assumed these people have come in broken, and they need to be always be propped up with this.
Of course, you love them. You love them because when the mother told them she's pregnant, you didn't give her 6,000 to procure an abortion.
Yes.
How many kids have been aborted? How many fetuses have been aborted? You didn't get aborted. You are here.
You're in. So you already have an advantage. You're already here.
Your parent had an option of giving your mom money to abort that kid. That option was there.
Exactly. So count yourself having gotten the lucky ticket.
Right.
And I agree. I mean, even for me, if I think back, actually, now that I've grown older, we always sit back with also many of my siblings, and we realize the wisdom behind many of the things that our parents used to do. One thing that I am totally grateful for, and these people took full responsibility, was to ensure, you had a roof over your head, clothes on your back, school fees were always paid for. And I can tell you, we are not from a family of means, but my dad, if there is something that he made sure, was you wouldn't be chased away from school because of lack of school fees.
Until it annoys you, until it pisses you. When am I going home? And I'm always the one being left here.
Yeah, actually, to some degree, sometimes you would see children who've come from fairly well-off families being the ones being chased out
being
of school.
Sent away. Yeah.
School fees. I mean, they were more wealthier than us, but I guess it was just an aspect.
So what other affirmation of love do you want?
Exactly. If you ask me, I think my parents, I don't even think, I know for sure they love and care for all of us, all of our siblings. And they didn't have to necessarily tell me that I love you. I don't think that in any way would have added or minused anything. So I got, if I could say, one of the best upbringing. I mean, I don't think I also turned out that bad. The other thing I took away from the session was this idea of when a child does something good, tell them to be proud of themselves.
Self-appreciation.
Self-appreciation, self-affirmation, so that they don't look for that validation and affirmation from outside themselves, from their father.
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
In my previous workplaces, it's not fair to mention companies, or
Yes.
let's talk generally in this Kenya of ours. How many people do you know who have worked so hard and then promotions went to someone else?
Yes.
When you hear that the laziest person got promoted to become your boss, you go around the office smashing things.
No.
Because you have a work contract that says A, B, C, D. The work contract does not say you are due for promotion. That's why when somebody tries to talk, they'll tell you refer to your contract. Promotion is at the discretion of your seniors. Plain and simple. In short, all the world shit. I mean, the world owes you shit, but you owe yourself a lot.
Nothing. Yeah, it owes you shit, and
but
I agree
you owe
with that.
yourself a lot.
Yeah, I remember in my past employment, I was able to build. I remember we used to have a challenge, so we had distributed offices in Kenya and across the region. And one of the pains that we were trying to resolve is how we could leverage voice over IP, that is using the internet, to be able to make calls. That was still the age of Skype, and people could still do that. But is there a way that I could do it such that I could take my telephone extension and call Uganda office, call the US office, all at no cost? All I'm leveraging on is my existing internet connection. And I was able to, because there was a system that there was, what I did was I got a VoIP gateway, something that costed me $20 to buy. And I was able to devise a system whereby you could integrate it on your existing PABX system, your telephone extension network within the office. And I wrote a simple white paper, shared it with my seniors in our headquarters in the US, but they didn't end up taking it up. They ended up taking a very expensive service that its rollout was also not successful, not in all the countries. But this one was a very inexpensive tool. It would have required maybe to have more extension. The most investment they would have done is buying a simple device that would have costed them at the very most $200. And almost every office could advance that, could afford that. But the one that they came up with was so damn expensive, it went into the millions. And I'm talking dollars because, of course, also the scale was higher because now they were implementing it globally. But even the cost-wise, from a single office perspective, was way too expensive. But, I didn't feel bad that they did not apply it. But one thing I'm proud of, and that's why I speak of it, is I was able to think of a solution that was validated, at least from the offices that I had control on. And I was proud that I was able to put it, document it, share it with headquarters, they were happy about it, but of course they didn't go with it. But all the same, I was proud of myself because that's
And you are not bothered with the external affirmation.
no. I didn't worry about that.
As long as you've proven, as long as there's proof of concept, it works.
Yes.
That's good for you.
That's good for me. And I think that's I think one muscle that I guess many people lack, because with the influence of things like social media, where you're always looking for the likes, looking for those affirmations from.
Yeah, you've taken like 50 texts on that
Yes.
snap. Then after 1 hour, you have 1 like from your
Yes.
sister.
Yes.
Then you start saying life is unfair.
Life is unfair. So, Brian, I think this brings it to the end. I don't know if you have any final parting words as we close this second reaction video.
What I can say is that this is a very good effort from you, and I'm very grateful. This is the first time I'm appearing on such a setup. I've never imagined that. In fact, for a while I felt nervous, like I'm going to be on national TV. So, maximum appreciation for you for having me in the program, and let's keep on with our efforts to make ourselves better men, better human beings. At the end of the day, the buck stops with men.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time from your schedule. I know you've postponed your evening walk to be part of this.
This was worth every bit of it.
I really appreciate that. I appreciate your time and wisdom.